All right, so people on the left and even some on the right are flipping out about President Trump talking about enacting an executive order on birthright citizenship as it relates to the 14th Amendment. Here's what you have to understand. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, all passed by a Republican Congress, are complementary. All right, so the 13th Amendment helped to free the slaves. The 14th Amendment, which is the amendment we're talking about, helped give slaves citizenship, and then the 15th Amendment, which helped freed slaves at the time get their voting rights. We should know what the 14th Amendment says and what the controversy is about. So let me read the 14th Amendment for you. It says, at least section 1, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges. The hang-up for most people is from this one line, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Those few words anyway. So that's where the big hang-up comes from. I'm going to introduce you to some cases that you can look up yourself. If you go to my Facebook page, Carl Jackson Radio, be sure to add the radio. There is a column up. There's a column up for you where you can hear or where you can read the cases that are that deal with the 14th Amendment. But here's the bottom line. PDF. This is an acronym that I want you to remember. PDF. The P stands for piggybacking. Illegal immigrants do not have the right to piggyback off of the rights of freed slaves. They don't have the right to diminish the suffering that black African slaves endured when they were brought here, taken from their homeland and brought here to be slaves. They do not have that right to piggyback on that suffering. That is absolutely wrong. And then we have to consider, we have to disincentivize illegal immigration. Just look at this illegal migrant caravan that came over from Honduras and Guatemala and then just broke into Mexico, and now they're saying they want to come into our borders, through the southern border. What is President Trump to do? Listen, I don't believe that an executive order, I don't believe an executive order will work ultimately, but I do believe it was a good idea to start the conversation, and we do have to get some legislation passed on this. We have to disincentivize illegal immigration. I'm thinking we don't have the data that President Trump has. And what else is the man to do? How do we stop illegal immigrants from wanting to bust into our country, invade our country? There's no way to stop them. Are we supposed to let every single person around the world that wants to come into America whenever they choose to? Do we not have a border? Do we not have our own sovereign rights? It's absolutely crazy. So we have to disincentivize this. So I wouldn't put it past Trump that he said this in order to maybe even disincentivize some of the people that are tagging along on this illegal caravan, which I think is a brilliant idea, quite frankly. If a mothers out there understand that, hey, just because you make it here, you're not going to gain citizenship, neither is your child, then maybe people will think twice about coming to America illegally and come to America legally. What makes America exceptional is that we abide by the rule of law, not by the rule of man where anybody and everybody can make up their own rules. It doesn't work that way. Other countries may do it that way, and that's why they stink. That's why America is exceptional. We don't have better people, we have the rule of law. The third thing you need to consider is the financial burden that it puts on taxpayers. It's absolutely crazy. So we're expected, anyone around the world can come into the United States and we're expected to pay for them. Listen, I'm just as compassionate as the next guy, but this has to end. We cannot afford it. We're $22 trillion in debt. People need to come into this country legally. The cases that the left will argue, they argue this one Kim Ark case from 1868, where a child and his parents were domiciled here in the United States. They were legal permanent residents. All right, that's far different from people that are breaking into the borders. Then you have this 1982 notation from Brennan at the time in Plyler versus Doe, where we were forced as taxpayers to pay for the children of illegal immigrants to go to school. This has to stop. We can't afford it, and we have to secure our borders. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good, and you can check me out on Facebook, Carl Jackson Radio. Follow me on Twitter at Carl Jackson Show.